Hello and welcome to the Torah Outreach Program, Erev Shabbos, Burst of Inspiration. Today's Burst of Inspiration is dedicated by Rabbi and Mrs. Kutoff in honor of Rabbi and Mrs. Bodkins. And I'd like to add in honor of Mr. Moshe Akiva Kutoff and Miss Rena Gross of Baltimore, Rabbi Kutoff's son, who was a student of mine many years ago and is engaged to be married to Rena Gross. Mazel tov. You should have not much nachas from the new couple, and the new couple should build a Rabbi and Yisroel, a true house among the Jewish people dedicated to Torah and mitzvos. This week, Burst of Inspiration is also sponsored and dedicated, as usual, to as a schus and merit for the hostages, that they should come home quickly and safely, and to the soldiers that they should be successful and this war should end once and for all with a complete success for the Jewish people. This week's Parsha, Parshas Bechukosai. In Bechukosai Telechu, if you go according to my Torah, the brachos, the blessings that we'll get. But then afterwards, if you don't, the curses that we'll get, and that how we will be thrown out of the land of Israel. But within all these curses and all these terrible things, there's a line here that's actually encouraging. It says, "Vashimosi anis es haaretz v'shalmo aleh oivechem." I will make the land destroy. I will destroy the land, and your enemies will be desolate within the land. Hayoshim ba, those that live in it. Meaning, others will be thrown out of the land of Israel, and others will take over. But those people will have no success in the land, and it will remain desolate. Let me just mention something from one of my favorite authors, Mark Twain. Mark Twain took one of the first excursions, pilgrimages, to the Holy Land after the steamboat came into use. And he talks about his trip, how exciting it sounded going to the Holy Land that's been talked about in every religion possible. And when he gets there, he was dumbfounded with disappointment. It was desolate. It was barren. It was a desert wasteland. The famous land of Jerusalem was relics, destroyed, hovels, and that was his impression. The beautiful Holy Land that talks about in the Bible and everybody talks about was a wasteland. Let's fast forward to the 1970s. The famous peace treaty between Yasser Arafat and Menachem Begin, where parts of the Sinai were given back to Egypt. There was one of the things that was given to Egypt was a vacation spot, an oasis. I think it was called Taba. That was a great attraction when Israel was controlling the Sinai Desert. Today, that area is a desert wasteland. No different than the rest of the Sinai Desert. Let's fast forward to the 1990s. I myself spent Shabbos in Gaza when it was under Israeli control. It was farmland. We spent Shabbos in a villa on the edge of a farm in a community that was beautiful. Yes, it was hot. Yes, it was bordering on desert land in some areas, but they had turned it into beautiful farms and greenhouses, and beautiful communities. Fast forward to, I think it was 2016, it was given to the Palestinians, and before October 7th. Look at pictures of what it looked like a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago. It was a horrible place to live. Even though they were given money and the infrastructure to build a community, most of it was wasted, used on terror tunnels, but it was just, they couldn't do anything with the land. Because of this verse in the Torah, God says that we may be thrown out, but nobody else will be successful. And this is a living proof. We see this over and over again in today's times. Vashimosi aniyas haaretz. I will make the land, I will destroy the land. V'shama ala yoshveha. And and your enemies will lay desolate on it, those that are living in it. Living proof. Eretz Yisrael belongs to the Jewish people. Without getting into the politics, the Torah promised it to the Jewish people, and anyone else who tries to cultivate the land, nothing works. And if you take a look at what Eretz Yisrael looks like today, again, living proof that when the Jewish people are taking care of Eretz Yisrael, the land thrives. Good Shabbos.